Hey everybody, welcome back to lesson 2 of our Python beginner series. So before we get started, I'm going to do a quick recap of something we learned from lesson 1, and that recap is data types, strings and integers. I didn't give a clear definition, so I'll do it here. A string is text. We create strings by putting text inside of quotation marks, and then an integer are whole numbers. So let me give you an example of a string. What you should do, and what you should do, and the string is subscribe. That is the string, and then the goal equals 100. That's the subscriber goal. So please do subscribe. And so that's strings and integers. And now let's now that I refresh your memory, let's learn how to use Python to perform calculations and work with numbers. Python can be used just like a calculator. So let's start with addition. Print equals 5 plus 3 and close parentheses, and if we press F5, as we can remember, it will run it, and as we can see, 8. But Python can also do subtraction, so let's show it's subtracting. So maybe print 10 minus 4. Very easy. You already know the answer. It's going to be 6, and let's see if Python can do that. Of course it can do that. Here, 6. Now let me show you multiplication. Print 6 times, let's see, and for times you always use an asterisk. 6 times 3, and which would be 18, and let me run it. Boom, 18. Python can do that too. What can Python also do? Division. So let's do 10 divided by 2, and see if Python can do that. Of course it can, and it gives you 5.0. So you might notice that Python gives you 5.0 instead of 5. That's because when you use the slash operator, it gives us a decimal number, which Python calls a float. So Python can also do exponents. So those are more of its math operators. So you would do print 2. And you would do 2 asterisks, and let's do 3. And let's see if Python can do that also. Of course, again, and it will give you 8. Instead of doing 2 times 3, it'll do 2 to the power of 3. So now let me show you something really cool. It can do a modulo operator, which is just the percent sign. 10, and you put the percentage sign, and let's see what it gives us. It gives us 1. Why is that? Because 3 times 3, as we know, it's 9. That's the closest 3 can get to 10. 10 minus 9, it would give you 1. But I just leaked my name. Sorry, but no stress coder. Why is this important to know? You want to know sometimes when a number is even, or you want to do an if statement. If number even, run this, or if number odd, run this. So how do we know if it's odd or even? Well, actually, you can do this is how you do it. 10 2. So you'll always do 2, right? And if it gives you 0 as a remainder, it's always even. As we can see, look, 200 and even 200 and an even number. Let me run it. 0. So as we can see, always even numbers. But if we get odd numbers such as 7, it would always give us a remainder. So 77, always giving us a remainder. Maybe 77.771. Always a remainder. You always get the remainder. So yes. So we know it's odd. And another thing is the order of operations. Python always follows the normal order of mathematical operations. So if we do print 2 plus 3 times, let's do 4. Yeah, and that seems like a good equation. It would give us 14 instead of 20, but let's say we wanted addition to come first, we would just add another parentheses saying, boom, do this first, just like we would do in regular math, and it would give us 20. That's because multiplication comes before addition. That's why we got 14. But if you want addition to happen first, we'll always add parentheses. So it's just like in math class, parentheses can change the order in which Python performs calculations. And then we can also use variables in math, just like we could do in math class. So variables would just store the number. So let's say age and 16. And then we could do print age plus 1, and then if we do that, we could just do 5, and that would give us 17. But then we could also save the answer in another variable, so we could do age equals 16 again, and we could do next year equals age plus 1, and instead of printing age plus 1, we would just print next year. And when I do press F5, it would give us 17. But what is the point of that? Let's just do an input instead, because that matters way more, and it will give us another example too when we do the input. That's very important. So you would think you would do age equals input. How old are you? Right? But when we run this, we're gonna get an error. Why is that? How old am I? 16. Why did we get this error? Because 16 became a string. It's not an integer because we're using input. So how are we gonna fix this? We're gonna do integer. So int. And when we run this again, it's supposed to work. Let's see if it does. How old are you? 16. Boom, it works, because now we transform this from what an input is regularly, which is a string, and we made it into an integer. Very, very cool. Now, Python always will store now users' answer as a whole number. So we can also use float. Let's say if we wanted to do something else, or we wanted to add the half. So I would do float. Because as we know, we couldn't do 16 and a half because, wait, let me just prove my point. Let's just tell Python to ignore this, but let's copy this right here, all this, and Control C. Now, just to show you guys that it would not work. So F5. And now let me do 16 and 16 and a half. Let's say that. Boom, it doesn't work because the integers only get whole numbers. So how are we going to fix this? We're going to add float in the front, which float is just Python's way of saying a decimal. And 16 and a half. And now it give me 17 and a half. I'm so sorry I messed that up. Yeah, you would not add integer, you always remove integer, but because integer is a whole number, but when you add float, it allows a number with a decimal. So yeah. So that was lesson 2. Quick review. So today we reviewed strings and integers. Then we learned how to perform math in Python using addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and modulo. We also learned how to convert user input from a string into numbers using integer and float. And then in the next lesson, we're going to learn how to do if statements, else statements, and elif. So yes, thank you so much for watching this video, and bye-bye.